Cruise missiles are designed to fly low. But a radical new experimental missile designed to fly high in the stratosphere could offer an explanation for what's happening in the image.
One of the contenders that it could be is a very, very fast hypersonic vehicle called the X-51 Wave Rider.
Once perfected, the X-51 Wave Rider will be capable of releasing a warhead anywhere in the world within 1 hour.
The idea that there's a test of one of these things over the United States is not outlandish because there has been many tests of the Wave Rider in the past.
Wow.
But the local military facilities are surrounded by thousands of square miles of restricted airspace. The mystery object is well outside those areas.
Testing always takes place on a military range. It doesn't stray into civilian airspace. It shouldn't be in this airspace.
Only a major malfunction or perhaps terrorists could be responsible.
This could have huge implications for national security.
Unless this is a different kind of aircraft altogether. Image analyst Mark D'Antonio studies the options.
There's the object. And if I go into this setting in this program, and I change a few of the parameters, now we see something that's a little bit more interesting. We actually see a very dark line here and here, symmetric line. These are wings. It's been suggested that this might actually be one of the regional bombardier jets. Well, let's take a look at that jet. If we take a look at a side-by-side comparison, if we look, this is the image, and this is the bombardier. These are a fairly close match.
It might be a civilian plane, but something about it still doesn't add up.
You have to ask, why are the wings so dark? Why are they black? It would be extremely unusual for a commercial plane to just have black painted wings.
Black wings are a strange look for a passenger airline. But up until 2005, one company flying out of Salt Lake City used a highly unusual color scheme. The dark wings for America West Express planes certainly stood out from the crowd. It also meant their planes sometimes got mistaken for missiles. An aerial camera flying over Utah reveals extraordinary rock carvings that shock the archaeological world.
This site could be the key to understanding ancient secrets.
They look like ancient cave paintings, but how come nobody has seen these symbols before?
This is your wake-up call. If you have moderate to severe... If you have moderate... Month after month, the clock is ticking on irreversible joint damage. Ongoing pain and stiffness are signs of joint erosion. Humira can help stop the clock. Prescribed for 15 years, Humira targets and blocks the source of inflammation that contributes to joint pain and irreversible damage.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Help stop the clock on further irreversible joint damage. Talk to your rheumatologist, right here.
He cannot! Justin Gaethje with his ultimate highlight!
Massive statement for Justin to go out there and do it on his debut.
That's the one thing no one can ever say Justin Gaethje doesn't have his heart.
I love this. You cannot break me, I promise you. Who is next?
Number 7, Cub Swanson versus Doo Ho Choi.
Cub Swanson versus Doo Ho Choi, the Korean Superboy. Man, that was a fight that everybody needs to watch.
Doo Ho Choi was a prospect. He'd been knocking guys out.
Cub Swanson came into that fight at 33 years old, one of the top guys in the featherweight division.
Super dynamic and creative.
예술적으로 다양하게 경기를 하면서 해준 것 같습니다.
I remember when Doo Ho Choi called me out. I watched this fight
and go, man, I like this guy. And then he called me out, and I was like, I hate this guy.
Marquee matchup at 145. Here we go.
Turned out to be a war.
Oh, good right hand by Cup.
I wanted to go right at him and just throw haymakers and just create chaos.
Cup is ultra aggressive. He's hurt. Choi's looking to finish him.
생각했던 것보다 조금 그 변칙적인 움직임이 더 많이 보였던 것 같고.
Just when you think it's going one way, all of a sudden one big shot.
Oh, Cup got hurt.
I was like, yes, come, no, come, yes, come, no, come.
What a flurry. Choi looking out for a victory.
Choi's chin must be incredible because he got hit with some big shots.
Man, this kid's got a chin.
I wanted that finish so bad.
Beautiful shot by Cup Swanson. Cup Swanson's got him hurt. Right hand by Cup.
Choi showed a true fighter's heart. Cup was just a little too much for him that night.
He's on top.
지금 생각해보면 좋은 경험이었던 것 같아요.
What a fight. Amazing fight. Absolutely amazing fight. Unlike anything maybe we've ever seen. That's a fight of the year candidate, folks.
That's going to be the fight that people will talk about for the rest of my life.
Coming up,
Slugfests are the most fun type of fights to watch.
Unbelievable!
I want to stay technical and fight smart, but I get in there and then here we go again.
which slugfests were made for the UFC history books? Find out next on UFC Top 10.
Right. He doesn't care.
Battle would not be fought in the future. It would be fought here, in our present. Robot Wars, only Wednesday at 10 on Science.
March 2014. The San Juan River near Bluff, Utah. A hiker flies a drone high over the canyons. What it sees gives an extraordinary new insight into a high-tech world of archaeological exploration from the air. The drone spots a series of strange figures etched into the ancient rock, which may never have been seen before by modern man.
You can only really see these things from the air.
The strange figures are barely visible from ground level.
Several have no arms and no legs, but some also have horns and what appear to be antennae. The question is who or what made it, and when?
One suggestion is that the carvings might be the work of one of the first prehistoric tribes to settle in Utah.
They look like ancient cave paintings, but how come nobody has seen these symbols before?
Their concealed position does not explain how the carvings could remain undiscovered for thousands of years. Could they simply be an elaborate hoax?
Perhaps the simplest explanation as to why these images have never been seen before is that they weren't there.
Unfortunately, it is not uncommon to come across carvings that have been falsified.
One of the world's most famous fakes is Britain's Cern Abbas giant, a pagan fertility god originally thought to have been made thousands of years ago.
The Cern Abbas giant was actually believed by many to be a hoax created sometime in the 17th century. The Cern Abbas giant was so convincing that it took over 300 years for it to raise suspicion.
But the location of the bluff figures makes it hard to believe they're fake and designed to draw attention.
Most hoaxes, most things like crop circles, you're gonna put someplace where people can see them. This is a really remote and hard to get to site. Why would a hoaxer put it there?
The key to unlocking the secrets of the figure's creation is their age. To help her work out how old they are, local archaeologist Sally Cole hikes about 20 miles north of Bluff to compare them with another set of carvings.
This panel of petroglyphs behind me is one of the most spectacular on the San Juan River and in this country.
Scientists believe these shapes were created by a mysterious ancient tribe known only as the Basket Makers.
The basket maker culture begins about 1000 BC and lasts till about 500 AD.
We call them basket makers because they're more closely associated with the pre-pottery producing people who lived in the American Southwest. They are perceived to be one of the first populations of the area that ultimately gave rise to the contemporary pueblos.
There are striking similarities between these figures and the ones found near Bluff. This sparked speculation the mysterious creators could be one and the same.
The definitive thing is the broad-shouldered figures. The figures can be trapezoidal in shape, they can be triangular in shape, but traditionally the arms hang out.
It is easy to see how there could be a link between the basket makers and the petroglyphs on this bluff.
If the link is correct, the Bluff figures could have been made by the very first settlers in the region. But there's one particular creature carved into the Bluff rock that stops that theory in its tracks. The horse. There were no horses here until the Spanish brought them over in the 1500s.
We have horses all along here. We have other motifs that go with horses.
Whoever carved these figures must have done it after the Spanish arrived in North America. The mysterious creators cannot be the basket maker people. So who were they?
You're able to see a two-legged being, but it's not really human.
Some people will say, well, I look at this rock art and I see something that seems like an ancient astronaut, and maybe that's really what the ancients were depicting, visitors from space.
What some would view as an ancient astronaut could have been an attempt to depict the beings they believed lived in the sky.
The whole idea of extraterrestrials is a modern idea, but the idea of the heavens being populated by gods has been around since the dawn of humanity.
Almost every culture on Earth has visualized sky deities in some form, and the tribes of the American Southwest are no exception.
We know that several American civilizations tried to communicate with beings in the sky.
While not ancient, the Bluff carvings could be an attempt to preserve stories of events handed down through generations.
It appears that the Bluff figures could have been a copy or homage to the older basket maker figures.
You have to be really careful in archaeology because anybody could copy a style.
To modern observers, the meaning of the mysterious symbols remains unclear. But without aerial imaging, they could have remained undiscovered for generations to come.
Only future discoveries and more advanced analysis techniques can give us the answers.
Satellites over China identify what could be evidence of a catastrophic space program disaster.
These could be something like scorch marks from some sort of secret mission.
There's a large amount of potential material or damage spread over a large area.
Wednesday, it's USA versus the world on a special episode of BattleBots.
We're going to be traveling around the world without ever leaving the box.
5 teams from America and 5 from countries all over the world.
Our fight card includes some of the nastiest bots on the planet.
Will battle to determine who builds bots best.
Look out for Canada. We're not all nice.
BattleBots Supersized Edition, Wednesday at 9. Watch live and catch up on the SciGo app. What do you call a great beer with more taste, only 96 calories, and 3.2 carbs? We call it Miller Lite. What are you holding? Miller Lite. Hold true.
When I walked through a snowstorm for a cigarette, that's when I knew I had to quit. For real this time. That's why I'm using Nicorette.
Only Nicorette gum has patented dual-coated technology for great taste, plus intense craving relief.
Every great why means a great how.
I'm Ray, and I quit smoking with Chantix. I tried to quit smoking for years on my own. I couldn't do it. I needed help. For me, Chantix worked. It did.
Chantix, along with support, helps you quit smoking.
Chantix, without a doubt, reduced my urge to smoke.
When you try to quit smoking, with or without Chantix, you may have nicotine withdrawal symptoms. Some people had changes in behavior or thinking, aggression, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, or suicidal thoughts or actions with Chantix. Serious side effects may include seizures, new or worse harder blood vessel problems, sleepwalking, or allergic and skin reactions, which can be life-threatening. Stop Chantix and get help right away if you have any of these. Tell your healthcare provider if you've had depression or other mental health problems. Decrease alcohol use while taking Chantix. Use caution when driving or operating machinery. The most common side effect is nausea.
I don't think about cigarettes anymore.
Talk to your doctor about Chantix.
I've owned the litter robot for a little over 3 weeks now, and I've absolutely loved it. What's really nice about it is the fact that I don't have to change the litter anymore, and it really takes care of the smell. The only thing that I have to do now is two things. I either have to fill it up with more clean litter, or I have to empty it once it's actually ready to be emptied. I would highly recommend the litter robot to anybody that has a cat. Once you have the litter robot, you're never going to want to go back.
Do we really have to choose him to be our next spokesperson?
He's so boring.
Sounds like you're on the fence. Why don't I just leave you my resume? Yes, it's laminated. No thanks.
You're hired. Try caramel M&M's.
Ow.
Pain wants to stop you. Block you. Like that's gonna happen. Icy hot. Icy no do, hard to relax. Rise from pain. Icy hot.
Wow, what is that?
Bizarre footage
It looks like a special effect, but this is terrifyingly real.
of the real world
Sometimes people spot things they're not supposed to.
turned upside down.
It makes me wonder if what we're seeing on the surface is just the tip of the iceberg.
An all-new season where the evidence is real and the mysteries are stranger than you can imagine. Strange Evidence. All new Tuesday at 9. Watch live and catch up on the Science Channel Go app. To the Fox.
Certainly a feeling out process.
Fox Sports app.
Hi, I'm Oleg.
My stylist listens to me. For the first time ever, you can get ED-Med.
Feel the ground moving beneath your feet?
Alexei Alenia. Lost. Ukraine.
McDonald, expect to see epic confrontation.
At that point, Robbie was UFC welterweight champion.
Now he had this formidable.
Wow.
In the third round, Rory McDonald was able to land a sneaky head kick, and it rocked him.
Robbie staggered by that kick.
I'm wobbled, I'm trying to get my bearings back.
Rory was pouring it on Robbie against the fence.
Robbie trying to get out of the way. At the end of round 4.
That stare down is probably the most epic stare down ever.
Wow. How good is this?
At that point, I was a little frightened. I was like, man, this dude is cut from a different cloth.
Fifth and final round.
In the fifth, I just knew I had to go out there and get a stoppage.
Robbie Lawler does what he does best. Got Roy to fight into that fight again. Boom, hit him right on the nose. This may be it. It is all over.
It was one of the most brutal, exciting, and terrifying fights in the history of the UFC.
It had blood, it had danger, it had two guys coming back and forth.
It just showed a lot of heart from both fighters to go out there and lay it all out on the line for everyone and ourselves.
Number 5, Chuck Liddell versus Vanderlei Silva.
So we'd always wanted to see, the best guy from Pride at 205 against the best guy from the UFC at 205.
Chuck Liddell, he was, considered one of the best ever. And then you have Vanderlei Silva at one point in Pride was considered one of the best ever.
This is an unbelievable moment because they're finally going toe-to-toe. The moment we've all been waiting for.
There's certain fights like that which just take you to another level. And that...
He's back with that vicious assault. You can't think that Vanderlei was happy with round 1, Joe. Chuck goes down again.
Mas Chuck Liddell levantou, conseguiu impor o jogo.
I heard him quite a few times in the fight we had.
Under 30 seconds remaining in the round. Chuck again, looking to finish. Are you kidding me? Wow.
I thought I would have been able to finish it a little easier, but he has no quit in him.
No single person is sitting here inside the Mandalay Bay.
Crowd went crazy. Yeah, I went crazy at home too, watching that.
There's a lot of pressure on Chuck coming into this fight.
The fight was one of the greatest fights
I ever watched.
Number 4, Bigfoot Silva versus Mark Hunt.
Bigfoot Mark Hunt was probably one of the best heavyweight fights that ever happened in our era.
The UFC the size of these guys, 2 monsters. One thing you know about Mark Hunt, man, is he's gonna knock people out.
With Mark Hunt, you know what you're gonna get, and that's knockout power.
He's got serious power. Bigfoot Silva. What I remember most about that fight is thinking, how are these 2 guys still standing here?
Humongous straight right from Mark Hunt. Bigfoot's in trouble.
I just don't understand how they both got hit so much by each other and not go down.
Huge shots being landed on both sides. Bigfoot Silva rallying even before.
Just running to just going to war.
Beautiful 1-2 from Mark Hunt and a beautiful right hand. There are not many men alive who can take these shots from Mark Hunt. 10 seconds and counting in one of the greatest heavyweight fights we have ever witnessed.
These 2 men went out there, slugged it out together, and they both won that night.
This fight is considered a majority draw.
You don't get these fights all the time in the heavyweight division because there's so much power from just 2 guys going hammer at each other. It was a great fight, definitely one to remember.
During the cheap labor. Hi, buddy.
Download the General app now.
First ain't no rate you can get online. Go to the General and save some time. In the car experience, who knows where the adventure will take you. Connect with great deals during the cheap Labor Day sales event. Or get 0% financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on 2019 Jeep Cherokee models.
So download your new app.
Oh? His next creation is a proven and giving us a run for our money.
He can eat everything.
Fans will talk about forever.
Diego always finds himself in crazy wars.
He never backs down. He just keeps moving forward.
Gilbert Melendez has a similar mentality.
Gilbert.
Guys, set up the body. He's going to get reckless around it. And the round's going to conclude with a flurry.
Gilbert had won the first round decisive, the second round decisive, and then all of a sudden you saw that Mexican pride color straight out of Diego.
Oh, man. Million fired away. Oh, this is madness. This is madness.
Diego, in classic Sanchez form, was able to rally back. The last 10 seconds, these guys just pretty much went toe-to-toe.
10 seconds remaining. They're going to strike the finish. Oh, my God.
Moving it around and like, I'm tired of watching these fights.
That's the greatest fight I've ever seen in my life. That's the new greatest fight.
What's the history?
Oh man, that's such an iconic fight.
Ultimately, what makes a good fight.
These guys are swinging. So you want to be an ultimate fighter?
Forrest and Stephen literally went 100% for 15 minutes. They were just leaning back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Remember, there was no pace to the fight. Both guys just absolutely went for it. They weren't trying to hold anything back.
They both wanted something so bad they could taste it. And I was just kind of like, these guys are freaking crazy, man.
The third round of strategy was try and keep your hands up.
That last 2 minutes are what set that fight apart.
They went to the decision. Nobody knew who was going to get the hand in.
The decision to Forrest was
The freak of nature.
What's your face?
English superstar.
Stop everything wrong, Fred.
Or a startup. Or nothing at all.
I didn't want to take my clothes off.
Back, I trust that you will be there to...
A lot of confidence about the way I'm presenting myself and the way I look.
What I'm